Hello again, and welcome to Faith, Family, and Politics. I'm your host, Joshua Cummins. We're coming to you, well, it's not live, but we're in the newly renovated Bullet Studios.
It's fair.
We're going to have a really big show today.
That's my friend Louis Rodriguez. Thanks for coming, Louis. Always good to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing great here. Thank you for having me over.
And to my left, well, we're going to skip him, you know.
Please do.
We're going to go across the table. The guy bringing the message tonight, it's Sterling Medcalf Allen.
That's me.
How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm nervous. To be honest, I'm nervous. But,
Rightfully so. I've been in your seat, too.
Yeah. I'm excited to do this, and we'll see what happens. I'm just going to let God work.
All right, so
that's the way to do it.
Just before you give us your title and lead us in prayer, I am going to bring you to the guy on the left of me.
Hey!
You know him, you love him, our resident heathen, host of the Laughing Libertarian, Alan McFarland.
Bat and cleanup. Let's do this, guys.
No crickets? Oh. Okay.
There we go.
That's it.
That's more right. That feels good. Okay. So, Sterling, if you would like to go ahead and tell us your title and lead us in prayer.
Title is, What is Your Heart Condition? Yeah.
I'm ready to get into that one.
Okay. Let's pray. Lord, we just want to come to you tonight and ask for your blessing over this message and over this group, Lord. We thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to come and to bring this to each other and to the world, Lord. Hopefully you will bless that and reach as many people as be your will, Lord. And they will get something out of it as we get something out of it. Maybe it will show a different light to them, help them with their growth spiritually with you, Lord. And thank you so much. There's not enough thanks in the time to be able to tell you, Lord. I just want to thank you again for Josh giving me this opportunity. As nervous as I am and anxious about it, Lord, I just want to get out of the way and let you take the wheel, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, Jesus, take the wheel.
Well, we weren't going to go there, but
In the spirit of Carrie Underwood.
yeah. Still alive.
Yeah, I'll stop. I needed crickets on that too, but well, the moment's passed.
No crickets for you.
Yeah, no crickets for me. Only Alan.
Retroactive crickets.
Alan's requested retroactive crickets.
All right, so we're going to be in James. James 1 is going to be our literature today. So, James, a servant of God and the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So this is a reach out, like a letter to the 12 tribes. It says, My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Josh.
Yeah.
How is the trying of your faith working patience? Can you explain that?
Trying of your faith, working patience.
I didn't know we were supposed to study.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to study.
He's just asking a general question. Yeah, so like, well, I can tell you this. I prayed for patience one time, and God was like, oh, yeah? Well, how about for the rest of your life, I'm going to teach you patience. And, well, I spent 10 years working at a license branch.
Jeez, yeah, that's brutal.
So, yeah, you know, it's kind of like, I hate to compare it to it, but it's kind of like being in a toilet. You're just catching crap all day.
It's fair. It's fair. I can imagine that.
And people just come in there mad. So, yeah, you learn patience. You learn how to just get through it and grin and bear it. So, yeah, that you're testing your faith. You're trying your faith, and it works your patience, and it wears it thin. I feel like that's the best personal view I could have on it. Yeah.
So situationally, the more that your faith is tested, you're able to have greater patience? Question mark?
Right. Yeah. I think you learn more patience. You learn to just get, to sit back and let it ride and see where it goes.
Okay. Verse 4 says, But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. I think that ties back into what we just said specifically. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty deep in and of itself. If you don't have wisdom, ask.
you don't know, you got to ask.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Standard. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
So, I guess what I'm seeing there is like the guy that's just doing everything on a whim. He's not going to do so well for himself because he's going to end up probably falling in quite a few pitfalls there, and it's not exactly going to be failing forward. He's not thinking it out at all. Mm-hmm. Am I hitting a nail on the head there?
Yeah, I feel that for sure. A friend of ours, Brandon, he's obviously not here, but he would say, if you ask in faith, you're not expecting it not to fail. You're already expecting it to happen. It's like if you're asking something, it's already happened. So you're saying, thank you for making this happen even before it's happened. So that's an interesting. He's got a really good. Maybe we can get him on here sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Next is, for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So to be careful what you ask for, because he can give or not give, and in your case, give you more patience than you want to learn.
Bargain for, yeah.
Exactly.
Like 10 years worth of patience, yeah.
All right, so 8 is a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Alan, what do you think double-minded means?
A double-minded man.
Double-minded man. Unstable in all his ways.
I feel like that's a personal attack.
No.
I feel like this was written
Louis,
into
what
Reddit.
did you...
He's just reading what's there. That's black and white. How it happens is how it happens.
There's a hyphen Allen next to that. Let's see.
There is now.
Can you give me that line one more time?
Sure can. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
It's on my iPad as well.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Nice. Technology.
Visual
Look at
representation.
That. He says to the man who's not wearing his glasses.
So great.
I can make it larger.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
No, we're good. No, it was completely a joke.
All right. I was being gracious once again.
I personally look at it as someone who is, and this may not be right, that's fine, I guess.
Absolutely.
Right. So I look at it as someone who is casting doubt on themselves. If you're double-minded, there's plenty of ways to interpret that, but I'm looking at it like, instead of being confident in what you're doing, you're asking yourself if you can do it. And that's always going to lead to, that kind of negativity, that kind of pessimism is going to lead to failure and chaos and such.
Louis, do you have anything to add to that? What do you think? A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
I just think he's a confused man. That's what I'm thinking.
That's good.
I can agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't know where you stand kind of thing.
I think if I were to able to interject here, I think
you're the host. We really
This
can't
is
do anything about it.
I'm not really even here.
Yeah. My show. No. Double-minded man is unstable. Well, I'm thinking of it in terms because, it's coming from the word of God. So
Absolutely.
I'm thinking that he's wanting our eyes on him. And if our eyes are on him and the world, that's a very unstable place to be. Because if your eyes are on the world half the time, you can't fully focus on God, and you're going to be tripping all over yourself. You're going to be unstable in your ways. Yeah. If your eyes are completely on the world, then all you do is live in the mess. Right?
Yeah.
No. I was waiting for Alan's commentary there.
I have no comment. I just
put his
my
head down.
Put my head down.
He'll come around. He'll get saved. It's going to happen. But yeah, if you got your eyes on God, and you fully have your focus on God, I think Peter made that mistake.
Walking on the water?
Yeah. He took a nice spill into the water. No. Jesus said, ye have little faith.
Yeah.
And it was just a moment of doubt. And there he went, right under the water, like somebody had threw the baseball at the dunk tank, right?
Okay, well, let's keep going here. It says, let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. So 13, we're going to hit 13 here. We'll discuss that. It says, let no man say, when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. Okay, so 13. Me and Josh talked about this earlier. We think, in most retrospect, kind of look here, is God gave us free will. So he's not going to tempt us in any sort of way. He will test us, and he will let us be tested. So in Job, I mentioned earlier, when Satan came and talked to God and said, hey, I'm going to test your boy Job, see if he curses you and dies. So in this case, free will is going to be the big one. It's going to be the world. So basically it's you versus the world, and God's saying, choose me. Any thoughts on that verse? Anyone at the table? Louis?
Well, God said, choose me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's it.
Okay. Simple enough.
I mean, I really don't have too much input on that. I mean, he's not leading you with temptation in any way, shape, or form. It's, your heart making the decision, your mind making the decision. I mean, it makes sense.
Okay.
Well, we were watching a program earlier on television where they touched on this just a little bit. And it was interesting how, sometimes when you're putting things together that things just kind of converge. I won't say coincidental or whatever, but I think God was working. I think they talked about how God views certain things higher than other aspects of life, because God doesn't view time like we do. He is the beginning and the end. So we have this very little speck of time,
right, that
we're viewing our prism of time through. And he's all seeing. So I think that free will that they were talking about. They talk about free will being held higher than the things that are happening to you at the time. So I think that when something bad happens to someone, or bad things happen to good people, it's not that God's letting that happen. He's not tempting them into these lustful thoughts or anything like that, but he's allowing people to be in a free state of will, so they can decide to choose him,
right or wrong,
or not.
But God also knows that no man is perfect in this world, and that as long as you believe in him, that's what counts.
He wants you to make the decision for yourself. He wants it to be your idea that you've come to him. You've read his book, certainly, but he wants you to come of your free will. Because if, I'm thinking, let's say I were to bring a little village of Lego people to life, just for argument's sake here.
As you do on a Saturday.
Yeah, right. Right. Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker hanging out together. But no, so you bring the village to life, and pretend that you're their God, okay? Just for argument's sake.
I mean, if you brought them to life.
You brought them to life. Technically, you're the creator, right?
It's fair.
And so you are their beginning and their end, but you want them to be free. Now, I would hope that you want them to be free. You could rule with an iron fist.
Want them to love you.
I want them.
But ultimately, you want them to love you, right? So do you want them to love you because you said, you have to love me?
Or because they chose to?
Or because they chose to?
I want them to understand there's an end.
Well, that's what we have Revelation for, right?
Right. I've given them a beginning. I'm giving them an end. And as long as they understand there's an end, they better love me.
Yeah.
But God also knows that you're not perfect.
Yeah.
And you'll never be perfect. Only one person in life could be perfect, and that's God, and nobody else.
Yeah,
Well, that's why he gives us. That's why he sent his son in the first place, was forgiveness. And it's like you were saying, no one is perfect, absolutely. But if you do make a mistake, because you're gonna make a mistake, you can ask for forgiveness. You have that open door. that Jesus came our mediator to bring that to God for us.
I'm just going to interject one last thing.
Go ahead, interject.
You guys were watching a program earlier?
Yeah.
At what age do we start calling them programs?
Oh, no.
That's what I need to know. That's what stuck with me all through this. It's been 10 minutes.
It's not good.
I'm thinking about what age do we start calling them programs.
We need to go back because he's only stuck on that.
We'll circle back to that.
Let's
like
circle back
Saki.
to I can't handle it. I'm going to be thinking about it. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'll try to get it off your mind. So, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. That's doomy.
Yeah.
It's a big consequence.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they know there's an end.
Yeah, see? Alan called it.
He did.
He hadn't read the next verse yet, and he knew.
Well, 16 is like, do not err, my beloved brethren. So it's like, no, save you from death. Do good. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Okay.
I love that.
How easy is that to do?
2 ears, 1 mouth. 2 ears, 1 mouth. I used to say it all the time to Riley.
A reason for that, yeah.
2 ears, 1 mouth. Be slow to speak. You know what I'm saying? You have 2 ears, twice as much listening. I love that.
Yeah, think your actions through before you do them, right, Louis?
Yep.
Yep.
Come on, wrath.
Louis had a little bit of a story that we shared earlier, but yeah, we'll stay away from it. But
Incriminating Louis this early in the show.
No, let's not do that.
But pre-show, but we did cover this using his wisdom to get past it. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, how many times do we have thoughts like that? I mean, in any sort of degree, all the time. You're in trouble. What'd you do, Louis? It's okay. I forgive you, Louis. It's good. It's good to hear because if you don't get those things out, those things fester. So
he just used wisdom, Louis. Do you call shows programs as well?
I just learned that today.
I know, right? Let's move on. Let's move on.
For the wrath of man, I'm the only one. You're the only one. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Fact. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. That's the book. That's God's word. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Now that's kind of a kick in the pants, just to Christians in general. And I'm not incriminating anybody out there, as we used that word earlier. Yeah. But how many times can you say that you do everything that's in here? Like, we're supposed to read the Bibles every day. We're supposed to not hate people or be angry at people or judge people even. You know, we're supposed to love people. So that for me is super hard.
Yes, it is. It is hard. And it came hard for me to trust people or love people.
Yeah.
And I always think about God, that I'm supposed to love my neighbor, my friends, and all that, but there's times that somebody does something to you or something happens, you lose that focus of God being in your mind, and you do whatever it is that you have to do to fight evil.
Feel like you have to do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have something there, Alan?
No.
You look very willing to speak. He's just on the program thing. I know.
No programs. I was going to say, unfortunately, that means if I become Christian, I have to stop recording my show.
It doesn't mean you can't be critical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All of those words you used can easily fit into what I do for 5 to 6 minutes a week.
There's a difference between judgment and criticism. Yeah.
As long as you got your heart in God's mind.
Yeah.
That's fair. That is fair.
Okay. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is likened to a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
Over here.
Oh, Josh.
Well, because it's a lot to unpack.
It sure is.
Right? Is it?
and fragile.
It is, yeah, glass. Gotcha.
Yeah. But that's like, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but like when you're a kid and your parents have said, don't do this. You're like, I'm going to do it anyway. You know better.
Parents aren't
And
right.
then your
Never.
mama knocks the soul out of you.
Mama going
And so, and for in my instance, in a story that I shared on a previous episode where I disobeyed my parents, went across town and got hit by a Dodge minivan. I didn't dodge.
No, it rammed.
And caravan my butt all the way over to a ditch 6 feet away. But
were they nomadic?
so while I'm in the hospital and I'm hurting and I knew better than to go across town, my parents are reminding me while I'm in physical pain that I shouldn't have been across town. I would have been in a better situation. So I'm now looking myself in the mirror. Like, I knew better. I'm seeing all my own flaws in that moment, and I can't stand it. I was angry in that moment and I'm resentful of myself. My parents too, but like that's not their fault.
I was going to say it's huge growth to be able to say I'm mad at myself.
But I was mad at myself. I was mad at myself because I still feel it every time it rains.
Nice.
Yeah.
What?
My knee.
Mostly here. No, I was saying it's huge. It's a huge growth in character to be able to say I'm angry and I'm angry at myself for what I've done. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier and it's very human even. I hate to say that. It kind of makes me sick a little that it's fairly human to go, all these things that I'm doing are really caused by somebody else making me do it, right? I mean, no one's making you do it. You may be angry at that person. You may feel some kind of way about something. You may not want to obey what you're being told because, screw authority. But at the end of the day, you make the decision, and it's really huge. It's a lot of growth when someone can say, I was sitting there angry, and it was on me.
Yeah, it goes back to choice.
And it was your fault.
It was my fault, but I had free will. That thing we talked about earlier, but God
somewhere in here.
Yeah, and so
he was just experimenting.
But I think that God expects us to have free will, right? He gives free will, and then so we know better, and then we still do the wrong thing, and then when we look back on it, we're going, oh man, I'm mad at myself.
Yes, kids. Vans jump out of nowhere when you disobey your parents.
At 45 miles an hour.
45 miles per hour.
Minimum.
Cameron was reaching to turn Helen's microphone all the way down to 0.
Right person.
Oh, it was the right person.
There we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
James, was it?
James, yeah.
Oh,
that's where we're at.
Okay.
We'd mentioned also earlier that is looking in the mirror, basically being able to see your own imperfections as well.
Mm-hmm.
As maybe another way to view that. Or knowing what you're supposed to do and just choosing not to do it.
Yeah.
All right, 24.
My room's still not clean.
It's not?
It's not.
Josh.
It's okay, Josh.
We forgive you, Josh.
When you said James, I was waiting for him to go, no, Sterling. That was going to be
I
fantastic.
had something in mind, but I'm not going to bring it up.
We need it, Louis.
Yeah,
Let us know.
I think he's.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah, we'll avoid it.
Let's get a little more Jesus here.
Yes.
Yes. Let's build up a high concentration of Jesus on the front end.
For he beholdeth himself and goeth away, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Wow. So basically, stay straight, follow with God, try to cut out, the human nature part of you that, that I want to control every situation. I don't want to be patient. I don't want to think about this with wisdom, or in some cases compassion. That's stick with God, and whatever you do will be blessed in His way, in His time, with His knowledge.
Well, doing a work, Sterling. I mean,
James.
being a James. So
I'm sorry.
I was referring to the book, Alan.
Oh, my bad.
You've ruined it all.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to ruin it all, guys. I try to add to it.
You did good.
Heathen. No. So but whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, being not a forgetful hearer. So not forgetting that you're supposed to be looking into this perfect law, but then being a doer of work. So I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, where it's like, okay, well, for us, in an immediate sense, this show would be something that we're working on. And we're putting it out there and having viewers watch and
People watch the show.
or listen. Sometimes it's just audio.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for those who can't see, I waved my hand around like a magic wand in that moment. But yeah, this is the work that we're doing, and I've noticed that since we've began this show, and I think that you've sensed it too, is that although it may not be in the big picture or the little picture sense, in the big picture sense, our lives as a group here, I think, have become more blessed, even a little bit here and there, but as a big picture, our lives have become more blessed after starting this show.
Oh, absolutely.
And working on getting the word out there and letting people know about the Lord, and just a good way to how to think. How to think.
And we're getting educated about God.
Yeah.
Something that I never learned when I was younger.
And this just gives me 3 to 4 people who will wonder if I'm dead if I show up an hour and a half late instead of an hour late. So there's that.
We were looking at our watches.
They were saying that let's start it without him, but I said no.
We're just trying to get on your good side, right?
Yeah. Well, he was your advocate, to be fair.
Appreciate you.
I did want to start without you.
I really thought I was going to slide right into the show after you guys started. I was like, all right, I'll just slide right into the show.
Well, I did mention it. I did say that. So we can go ahead and start it. But,
we watched another program. I'm kidding.
No, Josh did say that.
Alan's going to start throwing stuff at me.
No, I'm going to start bringing you Werther's Originals and those strange little strawberry candies with the syrup inside.
No, thank you.
No one knows where those come.
Those are nasty.
Yeah.
No, but thinking back to being blessed, as you were saying, for sure. Even with our relationship here, you would never have found me doing this. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say I particularly know you well, but our relationships have definitely grown since the start of this. And no emotions. I am happy that I'm able to talk to you and be able to talk to you. I don't have people. I've lost my people. So this has been a big blessing for me.
We love having you.
Absolutely. When you're not here, I'm like, no, we need Sterling.
I'm not doing this. Got it.
I'm just happy it's great when you're back there, but it's also great having you out here, being able to have a conversation with you that's on camera.
On camera?
Yeah. So we can hold you accountable in 20 years.
No. See, this is why I didn't want to do this.
Yeah, we're going to cancel you. No.
Anxiety's going like through the roof right now.
No, but to be fair, when you are gone, Alan does protest with picket signs and everything.
I do.
But unfortunately for him, I rule this show with an iron fist. So I'm like, get back in here and sit in your seat and know where.
Stalin-esque.
Yeah, know your place.
Actually, he had a picture with you, and then you weren't in the picture the next time I saw the picture. It was a little weird.
Josh.
Yeah.
Very.
Oh, we were closer than this.
Iron fist.
Sorry. Sterling, I am so sorry. We have just... Go ahead. We're railroading.
I'm sidetracking too much.
So verse 26. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain.
I know I did that before, but that's...
Well, I mean, that's pretty deep, just in a general sense, because we're getting closer, what I would say we're getting closer to the end times. You got to be careful what people are saying as far as religious leaders go. They're saying a lot of good things, and using this verse specifically as a reference, they're not actually doing those things.
Yeah. Justifying all the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
Words have weight.
Words do have weight. Word has weight. So we ended with 27. 27 is where we'll probably have most of our discussion, I would assume. So pure religion, deep already, and undefiled before God and the Father is this. Those are examples. To visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, that's one. and to keep himself unspotted from the world. That's 2. So that speaks real home for me just due to recent events. But I'll open that up to the table for a discussion there. Josh, do you...
Yeah, so certainly pure religion and undefiled before God. And the Father is this. So no, we're not talking dogma here,
right?
Because dogma is, in that sense, the word religion has gotten convoluted nowadays in the English language. We use the word religion as
religion versus relationship.
Yeah, religion versus relationship, and our resident Calvinist Bo Brummett would tell you, don't mix those two up.
Right.
But religion. The word religion gets confused with dogma. So I think what it's talking about there, and that's why I named the show Faith, Family, and Politics as opposed to Religion, Family, and Politics, because words have weight, and especially we've got to mind their P's and Q's in modern society in America for sure. I wanted people to be able to digest and understand exactly what points we were getting across. So faith is the way I would word it, not to try to change God's word, but just for modern English sake, faith undefiled before God. So unwavering faith. In that sense, if you have unwavering faith, you would want to visit the widow and the orphan in their time of need, and keep yourself unspotted from the world. That's the big challenge there, I think.
Yeah.
Because you worded it perfectly earlier. Say that again.
Say what again?
In the world, but not.
Oh, being in the world, but not of it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the hard part, because I mean, with what media and just electronics in general, everything is evolving. It's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
As far as what do you want to look at, or what do you not want to look at, or what do you want to hear? What do you want to ingest in this world? You got to be really careful.
It's like, let's see how many things we can use, programs, to take your eyes off of God.
Boom.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Love the callback.
I'm pretty good at callbacks. I'm pulling a Sterling right now, so you get a little bit quiet around the microphone.
Really good about that. No, that's true, though. I mean, there's just everything within reach all the time. And, it helps connect us in some ways, in good ways sometimes. Just like when you gave the word there on the show. You gave the word to the following that's been taking care of the kids and everything else. You got up early and actually had a sermon there. I can't remember the name of the show. I'm sorry.
Talking about the Worship Wednesday special that we had for Faith, Family, and Politics.
Was it? You want to talk about it? You want to give a call back to that?
I mean,
when you got up really early, I think it was you.
Yeah, well, originally it was going to be 7 a.m., but we got it bumped out to 9 a.m. because they're like a 10-hour difference, so it actually worked out pretty decent for me. So I got a little more sleep that morning, but yeah, we did tape it. It was a Worship Wednesday special. It is on our YouTube channel, Rumble, all that stuff. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
That would be fantastic.
And while you're doing that, go over to Laughing Libertarian and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff as well.
Maybe do that too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's something about being interconnected as we are. That's something that's positive. But there is a lot of negative that comes with that as well. I just love that statement though. I just love that quote.
Being in the world, not of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, God says He can use all things for good too. So it's how you use whatever He gives you. And He's created it for good. People corrupt it for bad. Use it for bad. So now, as far as the fatherless and the widows and their affliction, I can't say anything about that because I definitely am failing in that department.
The widow and the orphan?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you contributed on this show, being here, being a producer. Now, I've only earned $5 as a company. We've only earned, well, we, not I. We, as a company, have only earned $5 so far from Rumble. Thank you, Rumble. But because of that, that was part of a contribution that I gave to the Pakistani children. So actually, you being here and being a part of this and volunteering your time allowed me to be present in front of them through the show. And then they reached out and we made that connection. So I feel like time and money get convoluted a little bit too much, but I think time is just as valuable,
if not more.
If not more.
Because you have a very finite amount of that.
Oh, what did it say? It was
Well, we only made $5, so you're going to get less money.
But
I don't know. I'm good. Well, yeah, the flower fading away was because of the flower of the grass he shall pass away. We're just here for a moment, as they were talking on that program that we watched earlier. We're here for a moment, so we might as well reach.
We're not going to let it go, Alan. Absolutely not going to let it go.
Reach as many as we can. But yeah, it's something I definitely need to work on for sure, and am working on for sure. What do you feel about the fatherless and widows and keeping yourself unspotted from the world, Louis?
I'll let Alan take this.
Oh, you're going to let me take it.
It's back to you, Alan.
Okay. I'm in the hot seat again.
Yeah.
I think, not to interrupt you, but I think there is, okay, what's the word? To be knowledgeable of it. So you got to have the knowledge of it, but to keep yourself from it, if that makes any sense. So, like, not words in things. Being oblivious. You can't be oblivious to something like this because you know it's there, but I think it just goes covered. Everything is so open now, and here's what's available, here's this, and here's what, your truth is pushed in every which way, if you won't even call it truth, the way that the world pushes truth. So you need to know what the actual truth is. So obviously the word, we get back into that. But knowing what is wrong, and I think ignorance, that's the word. Ignorance is the biggest part of society.
Yeah. The go along to get along type of...
Yeah, well, let me just fit in mentality.
Yeah, I had a discussion with a friend of mine here recently about that because he's the go along to get along type. He's a very nice person, and I wish he wasn't. And because I know that deep down there's a part of him that's very resentful of the fact that he's go along, get along. He knows what's right, but he doesn't stand up for it. And
goes back there, huh?
Yeah,
double-minded again.
Sounds like me.
Just like the nature of the earth, right? Wind, water, all that good stuff goes path of least resistance. And I typically point that out a lot when I talk about people. There are so many people that just go path of least resistance because it's easier.
Non-confrontational kind of thing.
Right. And then there are some of us that just want that confrontation. So much so that you want to make up for the people who don't. I mean, you have to have that balance. But no, there's just a lot of things in the world, people especially, that go with the flow, like you guys are saying.
Yeah, well, and to the point of the go along, get along thing, I'll hear him complain about the things that he complied with, that he went for. And I'm like, well, you could have said, hey, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm just not going to do that. Just say no, kids.
There you go.
Yeah. You can. It's an option.
That is big. Yeah. Don't think you have to do something for sure.
Mom and dad says, yes, do it, but,
as long as it's biblically sound.
As long as it's biblically
make sure
sound.
you look. If you question it, call somebody. Just saying. I don't know where we are at with time. I'm going to assume that we can go ahead and move into family portion.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I guess I'll start. So this whole message for me is very personal. I had two other books. I guess I'm going to leave this open because I'm going to get back into that. But two other books I was going to go through, but James kind of hit it as far as the heart condition goes. So the story starts with my father passing in November of last year. So speaking of, what is it even called? Orphans and widows.
Yeah, orphans and widows. Yeah.
They weren't married, but I'm not going to take that out of context. But so it made me think about them a lot, the kids and his girlfriend.
Yes.
And the condition that my heart was in, because we received a letter in the mail about contesting his estate. She was trying to get control over his estate. Whether that was right or wrong, whatever. But me personally, it was not right in me because it went to instantly, no, she can't have that. That's not okay. She's already taken 15 years of my dad's life and my life away from us. We didn't get to hang out. We didn't get to do any of these things. So I went into rage mode, and I was like, no, we're going to fight this. We're going to take everything from her. She doesn't deserve another win. She doesn't deserve another win.
So your heart didn't have the condition of compassion.
Right. There was no compassion. There was wrath. There was much wrath.
Oh, sorry. No.
Let me go back here, Alan. Let's read that. Oh, no.
You said very little wrath. Very little? Like, you just built it up for a while.
So it was interesting going into that, though, because every time I was trying to find how to overcome this, like, how do I beat her? It was always dead ends. So I had to, it wasn't for that reason. It was, I need to approach this differently. My spirit was moving, God's spirit in me was moving and messing with my soul. I was like, okay, what is it? Let me take a step back, because my sisters were saying things too, and they got my attention. And then just people I haven't even talked to in years, just randomly coming into the picture. I'm like, hey, listen, I just felt like I was supposed to call you and tell you something. I was like, okay, what is it? And it was basically everything about being angry, revenge. You got to look at this in a different way. How would God think about this? And yeah, glasses. They make noise. It's all good. Help you see, though.
Yeah. They let me know my ears were working, which was very strange since they were helping me with.
2 ears, 1 mouth kind of thing.
So what I'm hearing is, like, as people were calling and giving you this advice, I would say that they probably gave you some bullet points of heart conditions to practice.
Yeah, big practice. It was a lot of prayer. I had to basically lock myself away. I had to pull myself away from the situation specifically to be able to see the situation in a different light and come at it with honesty and humility versus anger, revenge, retribution, whatever. So yeah, it was tough. It was very tough. It was like what I wanted to do, my human side, if you want to call it that, was no. I want to hurt her. And it wasn't, I don't even know how to put that, but yeah, I wanted to hurt her, and that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not right at all. So I had to decide, I still don't want to hurt her. I don't want to hurt her in any sort of way. Not at all. I want just truth, because there's a lot of things that are going in on the case. I won't get into those particulars, but there's not honesty in it, period. And there's no proof of there being any honesty in it. So I want that. That's what I want, is I want my dad's last memory, I guess maybe it's even a personal thing, to be honest. Where was he really? How did he really feel, about his kids and where he was? It's just all about an honesty and even humility in this point, because I'm not trying to take anything away from the kids. And I've had to kind of...
So that's compassion.
Yeah. Trying to take compassion on the kids, because I want them to be taken care of, period. They were my dad's kids. I'm my dad's kid too, so I can feel that connection, relativeness. As far as she goes, it's different. It's different. I don't feel any ill will towards her that way. I just hope that she comes to God through this. That would be the biggest. That'd be great. But that she gets honest. That she is humiliated, not by like me, but that she understands what she has done and finds forgiveness of herself, because that's so hard. Like, even forgiving oneself is harder than I think forgiving other people. Like, I forgive you, but what did I do? I can't forgive myself. I'm just pointing at everybody here. So yeah, it's this was good for me, and I hope it was good for everyone else, because heart conditions lead to decisions.
Yeah, they do.
I got a similar story.
Mm-hmm.
My father, he had a daughter, and he got divorced from his wife and married my mother, had me. He went to war to fight in Germany war, and he decided to leave my mother and marry a German woman. They had 5 kids. They came to the United States. My sister gave them problems. So his wife told him if he has any more kids, not to let her know because she's going to leave him. So he refused to put me out of the picture and not tell her that I was around. So then I heard later that he had kids, 5 of them. I was so angry and jealous because he didn't want to come and see me or talk to me. And I tried to talk to his family, his grandmother. Why? And my grandma told me that that's what he told her about his wife. But I said, I'm his kid. How could he, have a bad heart like that, not love me and not care for me? I'm one of his child. And I was so jealous and I hated them, and I was hoping his wife would die and everything. And then
so their heart condition gave you a heart condition of anger and revenge.
That's why I got a triple bypass.
Resentfulness.
And I decided after he died, I decided to forgive him and let it go because it was tearing me up, really tearing me up. And that's why a lot of my hate was because of that. That's why I went around looking for fights, punching people in the face, because I was trying to take out my anger on somebody,
Speaking of that, I'm sorry I was late, man. You didn't have to. You still got a strong left.
And then my other sister, that the first child that he had, she hated him too. She changed her name from Rodriguez to Shoshana. I forgot the last name, but she changed his name because she didn't want nothing to do with him. Yeah. And we started hating their kids. But then after he died, I told my sister, look, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
They didn't choose what's going on. That was her mother and my father's fault.
They didn't choose it no more than you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do with, what happened. And now we talk to each other over the phone. I had spoken to one of my sisters. Now my brothers, they haven't talked to me, the half brothers. But my sisters, my half sisters, have talked to me, and I talk to them on the internet. And I decided to forgive them because I started finding God, and that's what made me feel a lot better. And I took that was controlling me, I took it out, and it made me feel so better.
Yeah, that took
That's
some
great.
wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom.
Which reaches back into your message again.
Mm-hmm. Mindfulness and compassion.
Yeah. And certainly to be able to sit there with people you previously had blamed, and then now it's not their fault. There's wisdom and patience going on there simultaneously. So you've got some really good heart conditions there that, to keep moving forward with. I like that. I like that a lot, Louis.
Thank you.
Josh, Allen?
Would you like me to go next?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's a little different, because I've definitely had situations where, I felt anger towards someone and kind of backed it off. But I think the one thing that has changed dramatically, I would say my heart condition that's changed, was that I went from writing people out immediately. Not writing them off, writing them out. Done. People are replaceable. That was
86, yeah.
That was my favorite thing to say when I was younger. People are replaceable. I'm an extrovert, so it's easy for me to make friends for the most part. I may rub people the wrong way, but typically I have good enough energy. If I look back, in retrospect, that level of energy and I don't know, interaction with people typically keeps people around. I can make friends. Well, that ability to make a lot of friends also gave me almost an arrogance in the way of I don't have to work through problems. Because if there's a problem, if there's something that there's a wall put up or an issue, these people, path of least resistance, these people over here are my friends that I have no problems with. So I don't need these other people. We can just delete those phone numbers. We don't need to have a conversation anymore. And as I've gotten older and there are less people, right? I mean, I still go out and meet people, but they don't matter, right? Those people don't matter. It's the people I have relationships with, that I've had relationships with. Their opinions matter. The issues that I have with them matter. So that's kind of my heart condition as I've grown as a person. At least I personally think I've grown as a person. There are probably people out there who would say otherwise. I've learned to
leave a comment below.
There you go.
Yeah.
Comment.
Yeah.
Oh, it can be bad.
That's okay. Haters are welcome.
I love it. I love it. I feed off that.
Yeah.
But really, I've not only grown in respect for my fellow human beings, but I've actually grown to really enjoy everyone and value them and want them around. And I don't know. That's just kind of the strange transition I've seen in my lifetime.
You learn that with time. And, well, I mean, it goes right back to those bullet points that Sterling pointed out so eloquently. I can't say good enough. I was so excited about this to have Sterling, because I talked about this a couple weeks back, and I said he's going to go in the hot seat, trial by fire. That's one of the new things that I've just recent years have taken on, and to watch Sterling grow, and he's sitting here just like as I was saying, just a month ago, I think you would have said no, that's not happening. That's not happening. But then, here he is, and he's bringing it. But to go back to your point, though, is like all this growth that you've went through, you've gained wisdom, compassion, the mindfulness,
Gray hair.
Lots of gray hair.
And certainly patience. I mean, being a father, I'm sure that your patience is tested quite frequently.
I think she's dead upstairs. I'm not sure. No. I mean, I've been fortunate.
Yeah.
My kiddo,
give it a few years.
Kiddo's not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. But she at least is willing to learn. Yeah. She's willing to think. She's willing to learn, and that's what matters to me.
And gray hair brings wisdom.
I guess it's got to be in one way or another. It's definitely not enough wisdom for me to say program.
What would you call it then, Alan? What would you call
it's
it?
a show.
It's a show. Okay.
A really big show, right, Louis?
Modern age.
All you youngins with your shows.
My gosh.
We'll have to remember that next week for you to say really big program. Just to
I was just going to say that.
We have a really big program today.
tag it up so we can record it for the next show.
It's a really big program.
Yeah.
We're going to have a really big program.
Take that, libertarian.
All these desks are going to be on wheels next week. So anyway, sorry. Josh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right.
Do it to it. Tell us about your heart.
Heart condition.
Heart conditions, yes.
Time. And you're the person.
Well, certainly being angry was an easy one for me. Actually, I want to go back there a little bit. Where was that particular verse where it talks about slow to speak? You said 2 ears and one mouth, right? But
And all the wrath, right?
Yeah.
Tons of wrath. Is that what it said? No?
So,
Oh.
yeah, but that's, I mean, the younger me.
19.
Yeah, 19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Buddy, that one hits home, right? Now, before working at a licensed branch for 10 years, if you'd have said, hey, Josh, be swift to hear and slow to speak, I'd have cut you off in the middle of that sentence. I would not have opened my ears even a little bit. Now, I had two really good parents that raised me and taught me a lot of discernment.
I thought you were going to say I had two really good ears.
Yeah, two
Sorry.
really good. Yeah,
two really good ears.
I have one good ear. This I'm actually partially deaf. For those who don't know, this ear is almost gone. It's from an accident when I was a child. But
And now I feel awful.
yeah. You're welcome. Welcome on the program. But yeah, so they taught me a lot of discernment and things like that. But growing up and I'm sure that Louis can agree with this, growing up in a hard neighborhood, or in a more difficult neighborhood, so to speak, you go to in-group pretty quickly. And so you run your mouth generally first, and then when running your mouth doesn't work, you be quiet, and then you're not listening anymore. You're not doing that first part. You're just going right to the wrath. And I did that a lot as a young man, and there's so many times that I regret it, and I wish that I hadn't. So that was a big learning curve for me, learning that patience. So working at a licensed branch definitely taught me a lot more of that patience. I mean, being married taught me compassion, because just having a spouse that's so kind and loving, and just she's the best. But
she's in the studio right now.
Brownie points.
That's why he made sure to completely clear the topic of patience. He was like, being married, segue. Don't hurt me, wife.
Great point, John. Great point.
But, let's say before Laura, anyone that might have known me before Laura would have said that Josh didn't have too much compassion, that Josh might have been a little more wrathful, and Josh might have been a little more of a pain in the neck.
Sociopath.
Yeah. And yeah, did not know how to deal with things properly. But through her kindness and soft personality, I learned a better way to think, a way to be compassionate, and it gave me wisdom, because then through her doing that taught me to be that way too. Because then I found that when I was good, when I've been good with her, that life is just better, right? When I'm compassionate with her, even if I'm upset, then it's like, all right, something's bothering her. Maybe I should open my 2 ears, my 2 good ears, my 1 good ear.
1 year. Jeez, made me feel bad again.
Yeah, I know that when me and Sarah were going through things, I had to call you, and you departed me that wisdom. Just shut your mouth and listen.
They beat you guys, don't they?
Twice.
I fell.
That's what I love about you, Sterling.
I fell.
Oh, is that what we're supposed to say? I fell too.
He fell a little harder than I
Down
did.
the stairs.
Also, when you see her going like this, she's saying in her mind,
For those
wait until
listening,
you go to bed.
for those listening on audio, it's like, yep,
Shaking his head.
I'm going to poison you slowly for the next 20 years. It's not an immediate wrath thing. She's good. She's in the long game.
Rat poison.
Yeah.
I love this Gatorade.
Is that a hint of lime?
It's a little chalky. But I didn't have to get up and go get it. So, hey, Crust, que sera, sera.
So she'll be glad to bring it to you. Don't worry about it.
Hey, at least they put the bittering agent in antifreeze now. So.
Just before you go that, Sterling, I would say that learning compassion, learning the patience from the licensed branch, both those things together, and then having the wisdom to use those utensils at my disposal. Like next month, my wife and I will be married 18 years.
Yes.
Good.
And at 38 years old,
She's got her arms crossed.
She looked, yeah.
Her arms are crossed.
she's like, it's longer than that. It feels longer than that. No, it's 18 years married next month. And when you talked about like imparting that wisdom, I learned that very slowly.
Did Laura just say very? Accentuate the very.
Very.
Whisper, yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. So educationally, if I'm in school, when I was in school, I had AP courses. So I was smart, right? But when it comes to relationships, when it came to learning how to be compassionate with my wife, I was a slow learner. I was learning disabled in that compartment. So I'm glad that she had the patience to deal with that.
Thank you.
And and she gave me wisdom in that way, years later with your relationship with your wife, and you're calling me up and saying, I'm a little angry right now. I'm a little
what do I do, Josh?
Bad situation. And and I said, just shut up.
You did. It's kind of a pass it on kind of thing, which is basically what we talked about. Learn from experience, grow patience, get wisdom, show compassion.
And knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So she learned a lot of knowledge from that. And also, it's good that you walk away, go somewhere, cool yourself out, and then come back later.
Ice packs.
Yeah.
Outside of the throwing range.
So I think Sterling's going to bookend our family portion here with some word. Some more word.
For those who have lost people, this brought comfort to me, so I figured I would share it. I just felt like somebody out there may need this. So it's from 1 Thessalonians 4, it's 13 through 18. I'm just going to read it straight through, and then we can move on. It said, I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. The Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and with the voice of an archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words.
Let's give a moment of silence for that real quick.
Yeah, that was good. Solid.
Okay. Who's ready to offend some people?
Let's offend people. We've got a volunteer.
This is the offensive doubleheader for me.
Would you like to read this week's first headline, Alan? I think you would. Okay.
Professional.
This is coming from...
It's coming from the Daily Caller. Senate votes to repeal CDC mask mandate for public transportation. Got good old Senator Paul up there for us here. The U.S. Senate passed a resolution Tuesday that would end the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the good old CDC, mask mandate for air travel and public transportation. Very interesting, though, those airplanes with their amazing filtration systems.
Huge. Yeah.
Not being able to ride any of those without a mask on. I don't know. I'm not going to lead this conversation because we have a host and his name is Josh.
Yeah. Well, I'd say Rand Paul would say, masks don't work, okay? Fauci, quit lying on the stand or I will put you in jail. Let's arrest Fauci. That's all I'm saying. But for me, this means a lot because people out there don't know, but I'm very claustrophobic. So putting something on my face, it affects my whole world. Like, I cannot do it. I freak out. It's a phobia of mine. I know it's irrational on the surface. I know, but I can't handle it. If I have a little maybe there's like a little breather hole thing on it, then I'm good. Because in my mind, and I was like, I know that there's a little, but I said, those aren't effective. Well, no mask is effective if you ask Senator Rand Paul. But being able to.
You mean that doctor?
Doctor, right?
You mean that doctor?
That practicing doctor?
Oh, you mean, the one that actually sees patients?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he sees patients and helps them see.
Yeah, but still.
But he's still in there with them.
And I would think that even an eye doctor would know the effectiveness of masks, right?
Right, especially since they're all the way down on your face.
Yeah.
Looking into your eyes.
And this enactment, I think, is what caused Dr. Fauci to actually resurface because he was in hiding there for a little while. I think we all noticed that. He just kind of
he vanished. Yeah.
Gone from our TVs because COVID was over, right? That's what Biden declared in the State of the Union here recently, that he defeated COVID single-handedly, from no help from Kamala or Nancy Pelosi. How did you put it, Louis? What was Nancy doing behind the podium there during the State of the Union? What did she look like?
Like a raccoon.
Yeah, like a raccoon.
Biden can't zip his pants up single-handedly.
Most popular president of all time, 80 million votes, most secure election ever, right?
Ever.
Most secure election, more votes than Barack Obama.
See, what happens is whenever a few masks fall in a circle and Rand Paul says something, it summons Fauci. That's what actually happens.
But they found out that it was the news and the Russian hoax is what helped him get those votes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely a harsh slant on media, period. I mean, media was huge. I mean, social media, which gears, most people get their news from social media. Mm-hmm. The scariest part of that is before social media dominated the news, Comedy Central's Daily Show dominated the news.
Yeah.
And they still have a lion's share of the ratings, which we can talk about here in a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your own research.
Give the good news about Fauci.
Well, I'll let you delve that out here in just a second. But to go back to the Daily Show in particular, I'll tell you what, the way the Daily Show used to be, former host Jon Stewart, who now has his own show on Apple, I know he comes from the left, and I disagree with him on quite a few topics. But I'll tell you what, even representing the left, I think he's probably the best representative of the left that there is.
I would say Bill Maher's pretty close now.
Yeah,
these days.
And I think that might be due to Jon Stewart as well, because they are good friends off camera. And now we just got to get him to bring back over Colbert, because I think Colbert at one point in time was a little more fair-minded. But I think that all that I don't know what station he's on.
I prefer not to.
But me too.
I may accidentally flip by it. I just know if it's night, stay away from mainstream channels.
I just know that he's no longer funny, and it's because he's been corrupted by all this money and power. But this is a big
million.
This is a big deal that the Senate voting to repeal this mask mandate. Not only because of for me, but just being able to get back to normal life. To be able to get on a plane and know that I don't have to listen to the 2-year-old behind me going, "No, I'm not putting it on. No, stop it, Brandon. Just settle down. Just settle down, Brandon. Put the mask on, Brandon. I'm gonna pick on Brandon. Yeah.
Okay.
I just assume it's a Brandon acting up.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go, Brandon. Put the mask on.
That's fair.
There it is.
Thanks, Sterling.
I was thrown out of a hospital because I argued about the mask.
And you had what would have been considered at one time by the CDC the more effective mask, the N95 on, when you walked in, yes?
And then they wanted me to put their mask, and I argued with them that my mask is better than yours, that mask ain't going to protect you. And she comes out, well, the doctors use it all the time, and they don't get sick. I said, no, you're lying. I'm sure there's a lot of them that got sick.
Pretty sure she was just guessing.
Yeah. So they threw me out of the hospital.
Yeah.
Your own house?
To be fair, Louis, you're good at getting kicked out of places. I mean, we were at the Walmart just last night, and he said a few things. I'm like, we're going to get kicked out of here.
I don't know if anyone saw the Sunday conversation with Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher.
I seen a tidbit of it, but go ahead.
I listened to it while I was writing this week's episode of Laughing Libertarian. I can't even say the title of my own show.
Yeah.
But
like, share, subscribe.
Please. Anyway, regardless of plugging my own show, Bill Maher had said, he was talking about how his following really has been kind of lashing out at him lately because of his comments about COVID.
Oh, you mean using his brain and being rational?
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, it's really about who gets COVID and who dies from COVID. Everyone gets COVID. This is from him. I love this. He was like, everyone gets COVID. Vaccinated people, unvaccinated people. It doesn't matter age. It doesn't matter your health. But he's like, who dies from COVID? Well, I mean, unfortunately, the elderly. People with poor health. And he said all COVID did for America was show us just how unhealthy we are. Mm-hmm. Because unhealthy people died from COVID. And he's like, but that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable to say. He's like, what if I was to tell you that there is one thing that plays a part in 78% of the COVID deaths? You'd think most people would want to hear that and see if they could fix it or keep it from being them, or if it was them, try to avoid contact with COVID. But instead, people say, no, this is our lifestyle, and you have to respect my lifestyle.
We need lockdowns.
So that was it was really neat to hear him say, who gets it, who dies from it? Everyone gets it.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't get it. And I'm one of those people that's got bad health.
Yeah. I managed, I think this is pine, I'm not sure.
We'll just say it is.
Yeah.
It's that vanilla wood.
I've managed to go through this entire pandemic. Yeah, it was planned. We call it the Chinese virus because it comes from China. We can say that now. CDC's proven it. Straight out of the Wuhan lab. Straight out of Wuhan. I've managed to go through this entire thing not getting it. I don't know how that happened.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I've had it twice.
Yeah. Well, you had it coming. No.
That's fair. Now, the second time I really didn't even know I had it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like little sniffles, like allergies, and then
That's probably because Omicron roll out.
Yeah, right. But I mean, really, this is a long time coming.
Yeah,
it's really a long time coming
to be able to get on that plane.
Less oppression.
Yeah, be able to get on a city bus. Not that that's all that much fun to begin with. I'm sure that you're. Well, I don't know if everyone at this table has had that experience, but if you've had the experience of being on a city bus, particularly in New York, Louis, I'm sure you've been on a city bus there. And
city bus, train, forget about it.
Yeah.
There are far worse things to catch on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Being across from the lady who's talking to herself and trying to eat her handbag. It can't be fun. So if you're dealing with that, and then you have to wear a mask on top of it, and you're probably already shoulder to shoulder, or just very uncomfortable situation to begin with, and then having to put something over your face and not being able to breathe, and makes people even more irritable. And then when you're in an airplane, you're in a metal tube flying thousands of miles an hour through the air or something like that. I don't know how the speed works.
We'll go with
a plane.
We'll go with it.
We'll go with it. Why not?
How are physics?
I mean, it depends what plane you're in.
Really fast plane.
Depends what plane you're in. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Knots, is that the word for?
That's definitely not.
That's boats. It's
That's
nautical.
We ride F-15s.
Believe me, if your plane goes from miles per hour to knots,
You've landed.
You've landed very uncomfortably.
Oh, so
you're using your seat as a flotation device.
What was his name that landed the plane after the geese went through the jets? He landed in the Hudson Bay.
It's on you. You're from New York.
That happened quite a few times.
But he landed in the Hudson. There was an entire movie. Tom Hanks was in it.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of this man.
I can't.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was a hero. I'm gonna voice over it in later or something like that.
And this is all Fauci's fault, because when these people got on the plane and almost one had to take it off, you had people getting hysterical and fighting. Put on that mask, and they're arresting the person that's fighting over the person that got no mask. And this is all because of Fauci putting the panic on these people.
Control by fear, right?
Yeah.
I think you said the perfect word for what encapsulated the pandemic: hysteria. Hysteria. Yeah, because everyone who experienced any portion at some point during this thing, we all experienced a little bit of like, oh, should I be afraid of this thing? It's spreading all over. I know I did a little bit. I was like, well, maybe I should stay inside for a few days.
I think I literally went a week. I was home because I was actually working from home for a week before COVID killed my job there that I had. But like a week, and I finally went, you know what? I'm healthy. And at this point, as strange as it sounds, I almost want to have like a chickenpox party. I'm healthy. I can go out there. I can find someone coughing and sneezing, and I can kind of get in their air.
Yeah.
and just make it through it, let my body build an immunity to this, and then let everybody else be scared of it, and I'll walk around like I have an S on my chest.
Yeah.
I was going into Walmart and almost got attacked by a person because I didn't have my mask on. he's telling me, put on your mask, real mad.
Yeah.
I said, I'll get it when I go inside. just to avoid the problem.
Yeah. That took wisdom.
Right.
Knowing you, Louis.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done.
I had to do it because I had a gun on me, and I was thinking about it, but then I said, nah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit center mass, they'll breathe a lot easier for a few minutes. Sorry, 2A.
It's interesting how easily people become malleable or even influenced when something big supposedly happens. Oh, we need leadership. Oh, and they'll just take anything without knowledge, actually figuring out what's really going on. Oh, you're talking about going with the flow. They just jump right on that bandwagon.
But then when they become virtuous about it, when it becomes a virtue, that's the worst part of it, right?
Yeah.
There are still people virtue signaling, walking around the stores and everything,
glaring at you.
They're
Hazmat suits.
getting mad at their kids. Why isn't it on your face? Why is no one else here but you wearing that? Because you're trying to virtue signal. You're better than me.
You're smarter than me. You know more about science than I do. Whatever.
I am the science.
Oh my gosh, where'd the science go? I'm so scared.
Where did the science go for a few days? Was he in hiding?
I don't know.
Did he secretly catch COVID
Maybe
for a while?
That would be hilarious.
Or are we looking at like some kind of CGI body double? What does Q claim now?
I don't know. He looks slightly different. I'm not trying to be funny because I'm definitely not like a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form. But I saw a picture of him and I was like, that could be a Weekend at Bernie's event there.
Yeah.
He is 80 something.
Yet with Biden, I would believe it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I was on the line on Walmart another day, and I seen quite a few people without masks, and I heard this guy behind me coughing. I didn't look for no trouble, and I didn't tell him nothing. I just told my wife, let's go to the next line.
Right. I mean, that's a logical sense. Like, it has nothing about fear of COVID as much as it's like you're coughing, which is projecting. I'm sorry. We should have someone more virtuous than me on here to explain science. But
I'd just rather not catch a cold.
Right. You're pushing things out. You're projecting something out.
Yeah.
I don't want to breathe that.
Well, I've seen the movie Outbreak. That does cause a little bit of my own hysteria.
Have you seen Contagion?
Yeah, that's a scary one too.
And the way Fauci was bringing it up, that it goes
Yeah.
about, 10 feet?
Yeah.
Your cough?
At 6 feet, you're safe.
and behind plastic too. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Nothing can go around plastic.
COVID
Nothing
is
can get around plexiglass. Yeah.
Because it wouldn't go up and then happen to fall down because gravity's not a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking science again. Sorry.
How dare you?
Until the science is found, I am not allowed to speak about science.
He was on the other day. He was making claims. Yeah, because he said that COVID's coming back. He's got to get his hysteria so he can get his TV time back.
Right. Like he didn't make record profits.
But even the left has gotten wise to his ignorance.
Yes.
And I call it ignorance because he still hasn't caught on that he's been wrong about every single thing. He was wrong about AIDS in the 80s, and I won't get too far into that topic, but he's been wrong about every single thing, and he's been not a practicing doctor for 30-plus years. That's why I wanted to go back to Rand Paul being a practicing doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm going to get advice from both one or the other, a practicing doctor or not practicing doctor, what would you do, Sterling? Would you go to the practicing or the non-practicing doctor to get advice?
In honesty, I wouldn't go to either one. But if I had to, I would go to the one that's practicing probably, and then get his second opinion.
Got experience and wisdom, and he's seen patients and probably learned some patience through seeing those patients.
Oh, why'd you do that? I had it loaded up.
One of my best friends, he is a doctor, and I consulted with him quite a few times about it. And yeah, half the stuff that I won't mention any names, but half the stuff that is presented to the public it's not true. I was going to say BS, but it's not true.
Yeah. It's Bernie Sanders.
It's just fear tactics.
Bernie Sanders BS. Yeah.
That perfect.
Yeah.
I've been in the hospital, and every time I go to the hospital, the first thing I say, are you a practicing doctor or you've been already a doctor for a while? And he tells me I've been practicing. I said,
I need pro level.
I need a pro.
All right, Doogie Howser, turn this around.
How many achievements have you got?
Yeah. You have too many conditions for them to not be experienced.
And I don't need him to make a mistake on mine.
Yeah. Too many things can go wrong there. Speaking of things going wrong, Tulsi Gabbard has been getting attacked from the left. I think she at this point should just put an I next to her name as opposed to a D. She's definitely not Republican. She's got some views that a conservative would not back in any way, shape, or form. But she's also got things that Democrats will not back in any way, shape, or form. But she recently had come out on Tucker Carlson. So that's a sin right there to be a Democrat and on a Tucker Carlson. I think only Geraldo is allowed to get away with that.
I don't even think it's a big deal anymore since he's such a Russian puppet from everything we're hearing now.
Orlando?
Right? Russia bad, right?
Orlando, yeah, they've been getting on him a lot for that because he's more of a Democrat.
Yeah, they're quite upset with him. But Tulsi Gabbard found herself under fire for saying a few things about the biolabs in Ukraine. Turns out everything she said was true, according to this Fox News article. It was on Tucker Carlson. Everything Tulsi Gabbard said about the biolabs in Ukraine, turns out it's true. Here's something we just saw. We wish, let me go back here. I think this is, I'm pretty sure that this is her quoted, but here's something we just saw. We wish we brought it to you earlier. How do you say his name there? Zelensky. What's his first name? Is that Volodymyr?
That's Vladimir.
Voldemir?
Vladimir.
Definitely Vladimir.
Vladimir. Okay, Vladimir Zelensky. Okay.
I thought you were going to go like Voldemort. I thought you were having fun with it.
Yeah,
We don't say his name.
Trying to. I know that that's a Harry Potter thing. I don't know much about it other than that.
You're not a wizard.
I am not a wizard. I guess that I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that makes me, and I don't want to know. So the president of Ukraine, of course, gave an interview recently that didn't get enough attention in this country. Zelensky, needless to say, is currently engaged in a desperate fight for his country, his government, his life, and he has been since the Russian military invaded Ukraine nearly 3 weeks ago. So you can assume that there's not a lot Zelensky thinks about at this point, apart from getting the Russians off of Ukraine soil. So last week, Zelensky floated the idea of accepting so-called Ukrainian neutrality, agreeing not to join NATO. In exchange for that, he will get a Russian withdrawal from Ukraine.
It's too late.
Louis had some insight on these biolabs. He'd been telling me a while back that what Tulsi Gabbard had said was true, but until I'd gotten a reliable source from Fox News to see it.
I'm not reliable.
But you're here.
You're no Brian Stelter. No,
Thankfully, you're not.
Right?
We would boot you real quickly. But you had some insight, Louis, on these biolabs there in Ukraine.
Well, the reason the Russians don't want this labs there because they're close to home. He couldn't have it when he was in Cuba. You saw the United States, they surrounded them when they were coming in and told them they can't have it in Cuba because the Russians wanted to do that in Cuba. So now Putin is doing the same thing that we did to him. He don't want it that close to, because it's American funded. So he found out. And now that's why he's attacking. That's one of the reasons on top of the oil thing.
Yeah. And I think more and more things are going to come out about this, about it being funded by our own federal government. I think that's why you see all this money going over there. This is all conjecture here, but I think this is why you're seeing a lot of this money go over there. I don't think it's for the war effort.
No, it's for the bio, because the United States are involved in that.
To try to protect these biolabs because they need another Wuhan, another gain of function lab, so that they can get another pandemic going. Mm-hmm. put us. I mean, this is all conjecture. Once again, this is just me spitballing here. Don't look too far into it.
It's suspect.
It's
But
what we hear in the
It
news.
just seems a little too familiar, right? It's a
Yeah.
little too familiar.
Also, the Ukraine president is asking Germany for help. I don't know how that's going to work out.
Well, he actually went before Congress this week.
Yeah.
Zelensky.
Zelensky, yep.
Yeah. Voldemort. I just had to get the look for.
Yeah.
We're going to go a little long, Laura, because we got a third story we're going to tackle. She's giving me the 5-minute mark, but we are going to go a little long because I'm going to tackle this third story for sure. It's a little sensational, so we're going to have fun with it. But yeah, Zelensky did go before Congress this week and requested even more help from the United States. But he also requested a no-fly zone. Yeah. Well, we're just not going to fly planes over your airspace. Yeah, sure. Why not? No. That's too much. He said, is this too much to ask? Yes. It's too much to ask. Am I wrong?
Because I don't see a reason for us to help them at all. Personally, I don't care about a no-fly zone. I mean, if we want to shoot
First
down
of all, Russia bad. We have to say Russia bad. Okay,
Right.
but yeah.
If we want to shoot down Russian planes, we want to shoot down Ukrainian planes, we want to shoot down everything that hits the air, we have the ability to do it without really, really putting ourselves in danger.
Yeah.
That sounds like it has a lot of bravado attached to it, but I mean, it's serious. I mean, we spend 3 times as much as China on our military. Our military is the greatest military to walk the face of the earth. So, I mean, sure, we could go over and do that, but what does it accomplish for us?
Yeah.
We just spend tons and tons and tons of our money to protect them. Because why? Because we feel sorry for them? Because of what reason? I would much rather just see both sides just beat the crap out of each other and, let us go over there and pick up a spare.
Yeah.
Just don't leave a 7 and 10 pin, right? Just give me a good solid 5.
Yeah.
And I think
A 1 pin. Yeah, I'll take a 1 pin.
Ukraine,
We have him. He's in office.
the Ukraine was part of the Russians, right? Ain't that part of the
Soviet.
Russians on land too?
They were Soviet, yes.
So how are you going to stop them from going over there, over that land and planes?
Oh, I mean, it's just so much. My biggest issue is that the argument that a lot this week has been, why don't we give them planes? Okay, well, we're not giving them planes.
No.
Somebody else is going to give them planes because they can't fly our planes, right? And then we're supposed to go, oh, you gave them something, so indirectly we're giving them something because we're going to give you something. Like, I hate that. I hate that idea of it's only given if America is going to back it. No other place just says, hey, here, take this. And it's out.
Yeah.
It's out, and it's on our taxpayers. Instead, America goes, or everybody else goes, we'll give it, but America needs to back it. So the biggest thing was give them planes, right?
Yeah.
The biggest problem with planes are not necessarily a defensive weapon. They're an offensive weapon. So when you give somebody anti-aircraft munitions, that's shooting down planes. They're not going to use that to shoot into cities. However, what happens when they use those anti-aircraft guns and such, the munitions they have, to suppress the air power of the Russian military, and then they start using those planes that were given to them to then turn around and start bombing Russian cities. Now, I think it's a genius move if you went ahead and flew over there and started pegging some of their cities to make them back off, especially since they're 95% in. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. But, I mean, that's really where I sit on it. Why are we even in this?
Yeah, well, we're fighting a pseudo war, but we're setting a bad precedent if we give them planes as well. Because then why wouldn't Taiwan go, hey, China, come on, man. America's just going to give us some planes. So we're big enough, we're bad enough because we're going to be backed by America. The Democrats are going to wear the special pins and scarves the next State of the Union that Taiwan flag. So why not? Let's show how big and bad we are and invoke this war so that we get some planes too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the direction that we would be precedent we would be setting by our dawdling president.
Well, and of course, the argument is that the inverse argument of that is if you do this, then China goes, maybe we shouldn't go try to take Taiwan. Maybe Taiwan isn't something we own. There's the counterpoint to it, but still, I don't see a reason why we care.
they would just
I mean,
throw
we care about
bodies at
Taiwan.
it.
Taiwan matters to us. They're massive. I mean, as far as our economy is wrapped to Taiwan and China, period, both just dramatically.
To me, what I think, Biden gave the planes to Portland so they could send it over. Putin said if they get involved, they're going to be nuclear. So Portland said, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to send them to Germany where the Americans are at, and you people do it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Biden backed up and said, no, we're not going to get involved.
Right, because our politics are we don't want to be the people who start World War III.
Right.
It's okay for you to start World War III, and we'll back it, and we'll come through, and we'll defend you, and we'll do what we do. But we can't be the people who go in the history books as the people who started World War III.
Yeah. And on top of that, we're giving the Russians our technology because we're giving weapons to the Ukraine. And if the Ukraine gets a hold of those weapons, they got better technology.
I mean, it's true, but what the sandbox they're playing in right now, and I'm sorry, I know you want to get to the third story and we're running long. Yeah. The sandbox we're playing in right now, the weapons they're getting now, granted, compared to their Soviet-era weapons, which is what the Ukrainians had, and I mean, honestly, it's what Russia still has. Russia's military is garbage, and I'll say that right now. Everything they own is outdated. It's pathetic. Cyber attacks are really the only thing they have, other than maybe chemical warfare. And nuclear power. There's nuclear weapons. But everything they have is dated. They haven't put a dime. And when you look at how much they spend, it's pathetic compared to what America spends. We're talking we spend 13 times as much as they do on our military every year. So Ukraine still is fighting with those Soviet-era weapons. So, yes, when we do give them weapons to fight with, they are head and shoulders above essentially the rock throwing that Russia's doing. But they're not they're not getting F-35 Raptors. They're not getting things that are something we use. But my problem is when we hand Poland, an F-16. Here, you're giving a Soviet-era jet, fighter plane, whatever you're giving, a bomber. That's ancient technology, 40 years old, 50 years old. Here, let's give you something that's an F-16. It's not an F-35, but it's still something that legitimately could fight us in the air. Why would we do that? Why would we give submarines to Australia? Why would we do this?
Setting another precedent.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. Why give our technology, even our allies, so that if something goes wrong, we have to fight them?
I don't know. That's the question.
So what's that third story?
I was waiting for you to be done. I didn't know if you had another point to go. I'm just going to sit here and be quiet. Quiet little host.
I am so sorry.
It's all good, man. I think it needed to be said. The people need to hear it. So Glenn Greenwald, this is a independent writer. He has come from the left for a very long time. He's become more and more moderate as the years have went on, especially after Biden took office. So in this news piece, the New York Times now admits the Hunter Biden laptop, falsely called Russian disinformation, is actually authentic. One of the most successful disinformation campaigns in modern American electoral history occurred in the weeks prior to the 2020 presidential election, most secure election in history. On October 14th, 2020, less than 3 weeks before Americans were set to vote in the most secure election ever in history, the nation's oldest newspaper, the New York Post, began publishing a series of reports about the business dealings of the Democratic frontrunner Joe Biden and his son Hunter, who magically disappeared for a while.
He's without you.
In countries in which Biden, as vice president, wielded considerable influence, including Ukraine and China. These seem relevant, don't they? Mm-hmm. Weren't we just talking about these in long form? And would, again, if elected president. So there's a lot of money there that Hunter is invested in. He's on a board there, and or was.
Energy. The
backlash against this reporting was immediate and intense, leading to suppression of the story by U.S. corporate media outlets and censorship of the story by leading Silicon Valley monopolies, big tech. This disinformation campaign against this reporting was led by the CIA's all but official spokesperson, Natasha Bertrand. I don't know if I said her name right, but who cares? Then of Politico, now with CNN. So that tells you she's a reliable source, certainly, right? CIA, CNN, all that good stuff.
Starts with the same letter.
Yeah, and her article on October 19th appeared under this headline: Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinformation. Dozens of former intel officials say. Well, turns out that the thing that's in Giuliani's hands, known as Hunter Biden's laptop, it's a thing. It's real. What do we think?
I believe it.
I thought it was only 6 months it took for conspiracy theory to become reality in today's world.
Yeah.
They stretched it out a while.
Moved it a little bit longer. Yeah.
He's president. That's why.
Former Vice President Joe Biden. Yeah. Most popular president in recent history. Now, but the things that are on this laptop, disgusting. If you don't want to hear or view anything absolutely that will turn your stomach, don't Google it. I'll give you the synopsis of what's on that laptop. It's self-pornography, pornography of himself with underage women, I believe. Pictures of him doing crack cocaine. Maybe it was sometimes, what was it that he found? Parmesan cheese in the carpet. Who knows?
I hate when that happens.
Wasted.
Yeah. He was not using his wisdom. But
Temptation.
he couldn't get on his favorite websites, and so he takes his laptop down to the local computer store, drops it off, and says, "Here, you fix it." Did some crack in between then and the time he needed to go pick it up, so then he forgot it, and the guy at that tech store said, "Hey, maybe Rudy Giuliani ought to see what's on this computer, because I'm trying to fix this computer, and all this stuff is on here, and that's not good."
Too much coke.
Get a lawyer involved.
Made him forget everything.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you do drugs.
And how about that? It gets covered up by, what was it? It said CIA officials. So our own federal government, I'm reading, that's covering up, and then our own former vice president covering things up, and CNN covering things up. And then they want to, and big tech here, Silicon Valley monopolies, yeah.
All reliable.
Yeah.
Reliable.
Such reliable sources.
You don't need to see what they don't want you to see.
So they say, time and time again, they say, trust us. Quit sowing all these seeds of not trusting us, and quit pushing us aside and saying we're not, we're fake news. Don't listen to Donald Trump. We're giving you the things you should hear. And then you read articles like this coming from what I would have considered 8 months ago their side.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Greenwald would have definitely been their side.
You probably can't search it on DuckDuckGo in these days either.
Right.
Sorry.
And
so jab.
And we just have to wait a few days, right? If it's conspiracy theory today, wait a few days. I've had people yell at me at the top of their lungs telling me I was wrong because CNN said so. I don't know if you read this story or take a look at it. It is on Glenn Riedwald's website. But please do, and find out the truth. Do your own research. This proves it right here, that you need to be mindful of what's happening around you. Don't just accept what you're being told. Don't just take the narrative. Don't just comply. Don't.
Path of least resistance.
Yes.
You don't need to take the path of least resistance.
I think that's a good place to bring us home. Don't follow the path of least resistance. And do things for yourself. Learn for yourself. Yes.
Be in the world.
But not of it. My man.
You're not going to finish with Fauci? What happened to him?
Arrest Dr. Fauci.
No. He's been fired. He's been fired, and the people that you was talking about, they're letting him go because they found out that everything he was saying was false. So now they're going to change it to have 3 doctors checking up on the COVID and all this, and that way they have 3 different that will go against each other if it's true or not true.
So we'll have 3 of the science.
Yeah.
I like that.
3 sciences.
So,
sciences.
3 sciences, yeah.
That they don't believe in just one person. They say that he's making money and he's corrupted.
A couple more sciences, you can make Captain Planet.
Yeah. These powers combined, right?
These sciences combined, yes.
Yeah, these sciences combined.
Well, let's see how it works out. If that's what they're saying they're going to do, we hope it works out.
I feel like Nancy Pelosi is just in behind there, just raccooning away, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Drinking that
Sowing
little
some more
vodka.
seeds. Trust us. Do your own research. Find out about these 3 sciences. I don't know the validity of this because I take Louis' words with a grain of salt, as I did before with the thing that turned out to be true with the Tulsi Gabbard story. So, Sterling, you want to bring us home with prayer before I get on another tangent?
Sure.
All right.
Lord, we just want to come to you again and thank you for letting us be here and to read your word, Lord, and to bring it to each other and to the world, Lord. I just want to thank you for the air that we breathe without a mask or with a mask, Lord. It's still yours to give.
Preferably without.
Without, if it goes that way. Thank you for the masks and thank you for just everything, God. You're an amazing, amazing, amazing. And without you, I would be nothing. So I hope that you will work through this. Bless it. Bless all of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Joshua Cummins. To my left, a resident heathen, Alan McFarland.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Go to Laughing Libertarian. Like, share, subscribe.
All that good stuff. Thank you.
Across the table from me, Sterling Medcalf Allen. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And thank you for stepping up to the plate.
Killed it this week.
You know that you're going to do this again, right?
I feel like you're going to do that. Yeah, I feel like
Trial by
I was
fire.
afraid to get here in the first place.
Trial again. Do it again. Trial by fire. Don't worry. I won't do it too often to you. Or maybe I will. Da-da-da-da. And then next to him, 4th chair. We all love him. And I want him to come back as many days as he can in many, many years to come. Louis Rodriguez, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you for having me. And people, please give us some comments.
Yeah.
I would like to hear some.
Yeah.
I haven't heard nothing yet.
Like, share, subscribe. See you next week.
See you then.
Bye.